Vaibhav. In today's session of Visual JForex, I will be demonstrating to you the use of indicator named Laguerre ACS1. This was the indicator developed in late 2000s. It has been in use for more than 10 years, and this is one of the indicators developed by John Eller. He arrived at this combination, I think, from his experience while using the physics, and he used to work on the space signal and the spectrum of possibilities. And even I don't have the exact formula how this indicator is calculated, so we are not really going to go into the details of the mathematics for behind the indicator. For us, the job will be done by the system. So we are relying on the automated setup in which we have to see the possible combination of the input parameters, which will help us in determining and designing the optimum combination. So here this is the JForex platform, Visual JForex platform developed by Dukascopy Bank SA to enable us to develop the automated setup with minimum effort. One by one, we are getting familiar with these various indicators block using which we can design and develop our system. For today's session, I will be using OnTick as our start point. You can use any of the three depending on the requirement. Now coming to the input parameters, we have to define these six input parameters depending on which we will be getting the output value, and this value then can be utilized to see what is the trend and the strength of the trend for the underlying instrument, and we will also add the indicator on the chart so that it will be easier for us to see what is happening when we change the input parameters, how the plotting changes. You can simply do the quick search, indicator quick search, and here it is, Laguerre ACS1. Now this is the default combination, the value, the MA is at 2. Coefficient, the gamma value is at 0.6 and the lookback period is of 1000. That means last 1000 candles of 1 hour each are being taken into consideration while calculating these indicators output value. The lag coefficient, depending on the coefficient value, we will see differential lag in the output value for these indicators, and the MA period also has its impact, and we will see how it changes the formation as we change the input parameters. So coming back to the Visual JForex platform, first we have to choose which instrument we have to take into consideration. So whichever instrument you want to work with, you can use that provided it is supported on the Visual JForex platform. So here is the listing. Amongst all these instruments, you can choose any. For today's session, we will be working with the GBP USD. So let us find where is the GBP USD. It should be somewhere here, GBP NZD, and it's never an easy job to find the instrument here as this list is pretty exhaustive, and we have to be lucky enough not to miss that instrument when we are scrolling through the list. Okay, I think no, that is GBP CAD. Oops, this is frustrating me. Okay, finally I have found it. Hooray. Okay, so for today's session, our default instrument is going to be GBP USD. Then comes to the plotting of the candlesticks time period. Now, if you want to trade on the lower time horizon, I think the 10-minute combination is just fine. This is the default value, but you can change it anytime. From 10 seconds to 1 month, all the possible combinations are given here. So depending on your requirement, you can choose the candlestick's time period. For us, we will use the 15 minutes time horizon for today's session. Then comes the look back period, that is uh, the candle of which you want the output value. If you want the current candlestick's lag ACS value, then you keep the shift at 0. If you want to go back in time and retrieve the historical data, then you have to take this look back period, and then you will be able to go back in time and retrieve that particular candle's data. So you have to specify the number of look back periods, and you will be able to do that. Then comes the MA slot. Here it is only 2, but here also you can choose as per your requirement. So let us now start customizing these charts parameters as per our Visual JForex board's parameters, so that we are in sync. Now this is GBP USD chart. We will make it 15 minutes. So this is now 15 minutes. The look back period has been left as it is at 0. So we will be looking at the current output value for the current candlestick, the lag ACS value. It is taking too much time. I think there is some problem. Okay, all good. So this is the GBP USD 15 minute chart. We have the value for the current candle, Laguerre ACS. Then, as I said, the MA parameter also needs to be defined. So I will show you the possible combination and how it impacts the output value. Please keep the focus on this plot here near the bottom as we change these values. Suppose if we decide to make it 10, you will see a lot more smoothing, and if we want to make it 20, again the smoothing increases. So if we are looking at lower input value for MA, then we will have, you can say, the lag will be less, but smoothing will be lower. So you might see multiple trade signals being generated in lower span of time if the MA is at the lower end. But as we increase it, if we make it 100, then you will see that now it has kind of flattened, and it will take a lot of time before any trend change is reflected in these indicators output value. So you have to see what is the appropriate combination. There is no ideal combination to work with. For today's session, let us keep it 25, for example, nothing particular about the 25 combination. Now, coming to the second parameter, the gamma. This is the coefficient which has a huge impact on the lag, which is there in the output value, the trend change. If we increase the gamma value, then you will see that these output values will flatten. So here, suppose if we make it 0.7, it is more smoother. If we make it 0.8, lot more smoother, and if we make it 0.9, it will flatten almost, and 0.99. So you can see how this gamma factor goes on to cast a lot of impact on the output value. Now we are keeping these at 0.5. Look back period, the number of candlesticks which will be taken into consideration for calculation. We can make it 500. We can even try the 100 value. Okay, so we have made it the combination, the default combination was very different, and now we have changed it as per our requirement, as we see that this might prove more beneficial. But of course, first we will need to test it. We will need to test it on the historical data, and then only we will be able to say whether the particular combination is likely to give us the idea of the trend change in time and in the required direction. The general consensus for the use of this indicator is that you go for the long position whenever the value rises from below 0.2 to above 0.2. The indicator's plotting will be done between 0 and 1. So this is bound on both the sides as like most of the oscillator indicators. And when the indicator values declines above from 0.8, that is above 0.8 to below 0.8, then we go for the short sell trade. So somewhere around here, when the value dips below the 0.8, we would have gone in for the sell trade, and as the things stand, we would have made a good amount of money in that trade. As you can see that after that the underlying instrument has gone down, and then I think we are yet to get any buy signal, as the value didn't really dip below 0.2, and after 0.2 it should rise back above that. So that hasn't really happened, so we haven't gotten any buy signal so far. I think during prior instances that might have happened. So somewhere here we would have gotten a buy signal somewhere around here, and after that the value indeed dipped, but it also rose back. So depending on your stop loss levels, you might have ended up in loss or in the profit, but you might have gotten the idea how this indicator works. So this gives you the idea of the overbought oversold scenarios and then possible trend change. One other way is to play with the trend and keep looking for the buy trades as long as the lag ACS values are on the rise, and if the lag ACS values are declining, you keep looking for the short sell trade. So for further pinpointing the entry points, you can bring in other indicators. You can use this indicator in conjunction with other indicators like stochastic, MACD, or whichever other indicator you might deem fit, and try to figure out the best enough combination to do the job for you, to figure out the possible entry and the exit points with higher probability of making money or being profitable. So we go back on the chart, and here also we will make the same changes. We will change this MA parameter to 25. The gamma is kept at 0.5. Look back period, we changed it. This is independent from this shift. The shift is for retrieving that particular candle's data, while this is the number of candles which will be taken into consideration for calculation of the indicator's output value. And depending on these input parameters, we get the output value. The output value can be utilized as per a requirement. We can define some if-else statements, the conditions. If the conditions are fulfilled, we will go ahead and execute the trade. We can also use the output value for calculation in calculation blocks. So this output value will give you one of the parameters depending on which you can then decide to trade or not to trade. And not to forget, we have to keep in mind the other two parameters also. The calculation side, on which side the calculation is being done, there will be slight difference in the output value. And the applied price, if we are going to take the closing price of the candle, or the high price, low price, or the median price, or all these combinations are provided. So depending on the type of applied price you want to choose for the calculation of the indicator, you will see slight difference in the output value. So we have to try out all the possible combinations, and we have to then see what is the particular combinations probability of being right for any trade setup, and then depending on that we can figure out the possible setup and use this indicator to determine the trend as well as the strength of the underlying instrument's momentum. So that's it from my side for today's session. If any of you have any query or any idea to share, you can write it in the comment section and I would be more than happy to take the discussion forward. Thank you all for joining in. Have a fabulous time. Goodbye.